Hey guys, so another big green trading day today. So I mentioned yesterday that most likely we would see this 2-day back-to-back rally. This has kind of been our trend. I mean, happened here. We had a bigger trend like that here. Most recently though was this April 27th and 28th. So if the trend is to hold true, then we are probably going to maybe come up to 422, reject, close the doji back somewhere under 419.5, and most likely that will be our top. However, tomorrow is JPOW speaking at 11 a.m. He's speaking at some conference, I guess. So that'll be interesting to watch. Now, if he comes out super dovish and says, there won't be a recession, we are probably going to pause, and maybe just do some like reconfirming of the bank's strength, we very well could find ourselves closing in the 420s for the first time since August. However, if he comes out and he is not very reassuring, or he even remotely hints at a 25 basis point hike in June, or a recession, or really anything remotely bearish, with how low the VIX is and how high SPY is right now, I would be pretty surprised to see us not close back in the 419 or in the 14. So if you look at this, which is really, really interesting here, is we had this really nice rising wedge that we've been building in right here since, back here in February. So the one interesting thing here is that we're going into Jackson Hole. So where did we close, or we're going into JPOW speaking tomorrow. Where did we close during the day before Jackson Hole? We closed at 419.51. SPY today closed at 419.23. This 419.5 level is a major level. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens tomorrow when JPOW speaks. You can see leading up to Jackson Hole, we had a similar just kind of consolidation, breakout, consolidation, breakout. We've kind of had the same thing here. We had consolidation, breakout, consolidation. So, and you can even go all the way back down to here to consolidation before we kind of move up. So this is either, in my opinion, going to be the turning point of the market where we head to the 430s, or we're going to get abruptly rejected and we're going to be back in the low 400s. So tomorrow will be a very, very important close. Going over to futures here, same thing. So if you look all the way zoned out, what's different about this is Jackson Hole right here. So spot or futures was all the way up in this 4280 area. So because of the contracts and just how futures trades and stuff, we're actually still in a pretty good resistance area. So if you look here, realistically, this 4218 to 4235 area is a pretty big resistance area to still keep an eye on. However, this is the first time we have closed a candle over 4,200 since September. So that's a long time that it's been since we were able to close in the 4,200s. Now, looking at futures here, this looks much more bullish where we could have some continuation. However, look at this pattern. So you have your 2-day rally right here with a nice rejection. You have the 2-day rally with a rejection, 2-day rally with a rejection. So this is a common theme that we are seeing. So I am watching for that closely tomorrow. For me, for end of week, major closing level is definitely going to be 4,200. Under 4,200, I feel pretty confident that we're going to have a nice sell-off next week. Over realistically 4,235, and I think we could maybe break 4,300 next week. Now, looking at the VIX here, you can see, we have been having this really nice sell-off here, and we just pretty much continue to sell off. So what's interesting about this is that we were holding for quite a long time here, really this 16.8 support area. Now, intraday, if you watch, there was a time where the VIX had recoiled and was back in like this 17 area here, and it looked like on SPY we had a reversal doji bearish, and on the VIX we also had a reversal doji bullish for the VIX, which would have really signaled a nice move down. However, by end of day, as you can see here, the VIX just completely unwound. So very, very interesting to watch that. Now, if you look where we're closing here, just to get to the 15, to get into 14, so I'm talking about 14.99. Let's see, look at that right there. We only need a negative 6.55% drop tomorrow. And that gets us into the 14s, which we have not seen in a very, very long time. Now, one thing you got to ask yourself when we're sitting in this level and we're looking at the potential 52-week low. So just to get to a 52-week low. So our low here was 15.53. So let's go down to 15.52. We only need a negative 3.28% drop. We dropped 4.8% today like it was nothing. So what you got to ask yourself is, with JPOW going to talk tomorrow and SPY being at 420 and stuff, are we more likely to have the VIX continue to sell off into the 14s and the 15s, or are we more likely that we're finding the bottom and the top of SPY temporarily and we're going to see a move back up? That's what you got to ask yourself. Now, one thing that is very intriguing to me is the breakout in the dollar. The dollar actually is going to make a really nice cup and handle. Here's what I'm seeing actually. It looks like we're going to push back up in this 105 area. So what's really interesting is, generally speaking, you would not expect the dollar to break out with stocks breaking out. You would expect when the dollar regains strength, you would expect to see a lot of weakness in tech. However, tech has been leading this rally. I mean, look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ closed up 1.81% today. I mean, you got stocks like Amazon, Nvidia, Microsoft. They're all hitting 52-week highs. So the question is, what's going to happen next? Are we going to see the dollar completely lose strength again, or are we going to see a major correction come to the markets? So also interesting here is the last time the dollar closed or was this high was March 20th. If you look at SPY on March 20th, we'll zoom back in here a little bit. So March 20th is right here. We closed at 393.74. Now, same thing with the 10-year here. 10-year major breakout. This could be a nice cup and handle all the way back up to that 4 range too. And most importantly though, I've been talking about this 3.607 range for a long time. We finally closed over that and broke this consolidation range. So with the 10-year breaking out and the dollar breaking out, you would expect to see some weakness in the market. However, that is not what we're seeing. So the last time the 10-year closed this or was this high was March 15th. Let's see where SPY was on March 15th, right here. SPY closed at 389.3, call it. So if you take the 10-year and the dollar, last time they were at this level of close, it's about 391 on SPY, which is right here. So that means currently, if you wanted to go from where we're at back to 391, we'll call it right here, that means currently SPY is about $28 too high. Now, again, it's not a perfect correlation, and that's just something to keep in mind as we watch pretty much the markets rally with the 10-year and the dollar. If there's a bigger correction to be had, that 390 range really is going to be the solid target that I would have. Last little thing to keep in mind here is Bitcoin. What's interesting about Bitcoin is Bitcoin was in the diamond pattern very similar to what actually SPY was in. However, Bitcoin chose to break down. And as you can see, it is still holding really nicely here, this 26.8K support. However, it's in a downward trend. Bitcoin is not trending up. So to see what I would call a risky, risk-on asset like Bitcoin not rallying with tech and some of these other meme stocks and things like that is really interesting to me. Now, some of this weakness in Bitcoin could be related to the strength of the dollar coming back. But if you look at the last really, 2 months of trading, what the dollar has done has not really affected Bitcoin. So just very interesting and very intriguing, to say the least, of watching this trend here. Overall, I think JPOW is going to give us a little insight of what we could see at FOMOC, and I think the markets are definitely going to listen tomorrow. So it will be interesting to see where we end up. All right, hope you guys had a good week trading, a good day trading. I will see you guys tomorrow.